tell us a little bit about how you came to work with ACTI, what the organization is all about, and then what led you towards your current PhD studies in education.
I started working for ACTI in 2014. The chairman of ACTI by then was my boss. I used to work at Africa International University. And unfortunately, he passed on in 2012. He had introduced me to ACTI, the fact that he was a chairman of ACTI Council. And so ACTI was in a crisis because it didn't have a chairman. And so when they came into Nairobi to look for, the way forward, and the fact that ACTI never had an office, it was an office by suitcase, where if we have a director in South Africa next year, then we pack our bags from Nairobi and we move to South Africa. And so when they decided to have a crisis meeting, the only person they could think of was me, because the fact that I had been introduced to ACTI by my boss. And so they approached me. I helped them put up a meeting. And then when I came back just to check on how they were doing, I hear them whispering, "Tell her, tell her, tell her." And the telling me was the fact that they were interested in giving me a job to work at ACTI. Unfortunately, as I said, my boss had just passed on, and it was very impossible for me to leave my office by then because there were transitions happening. So I told them I'll work for them, actually help them part-time. So I actually worked by helping them, not really being employed by then, for about 8 months. And then in 8 months, we had interviews for the director. And that's when they came in again and said, "You need to give a response. Are you going to come in and work?" And I said, "Now I think I will take it up." So when the time was right, after I finished my last assignments at AIU, I joined ACTI. And so that is how I got to know of ACTI. And I'm privileged to say that I am the person who moved ACTI from Dola, Zambia to Nairobi, Kenya. I set up the first office of ACTI, full-time office in ACTI. Bought the furniture, put up everything, shipped the materials from Dola, Zambia and Pittsburgh, South Africa. And then we officially had a physical office where you can go to. And we actually had a director. So Emmanuel Chemengich and myself were the first staff to be fully employed by ACTI. So ACTI is very close to my heart. I'm glad that I go down the history as, one of the people who helped ACTI into that point. And ACTI has been existent now for almost 50 years. Basically, ACTI's work is to strengthen theological institutions by accreditation, support services, and scholarship, really research. And this is very vital for our institution, and especially in Africa, where we need to ensure that there is quality theological education. Sometimes also in Africa, we tend to be overtaken, and we can be over-religious, without having a firm foundation or right facts. And not everyone, of course, but depending in the villages. And so our main aim is to ensure that our pastors get quality theological education. And how do we attain that? We ensure that by ensuring that the schools where they are going to, they are offering quality theological education by ensuring that their teachers are coming from authenticated institutions and they have certificates that actually come from real schools. There is a good curriculum, that we just don't get curriculum from the Western side, but we actually have a relevant contextualized curriculum. And we have facilities, and that we are also taking care of our students, not only studies, but how do we enrich our students with community, with spiritual formation and all that. And we also have administration, which is my favorite part, because as you said, I'm taking a PhD in higher education administration.
Yes, I'd love to hear about
that. And so I am an administrator with my first degree and my master's in administration. So basically, I'm an administrator working with theologians. So I normally tell people that I'm a theologian by experience. But administrator by, profession.
Yes.
And I always remind them, even theologians need administrators, because it's a very important aspect.
I think them especially, I often find working around theologians that their minds are full of so many other things that often the administrative things are the last things they're thinking of. So they need administrators for sure.
I agree. And you and I know that if you don't do the administrative aspect correctly, then you have no organization, basically. And so we have a standard under administration where we look at strategic plans and we look at the audited accounts, the board members, and, the mission and vision of the institutions and the review of the policies. So that's where I come in. And so after working for ACTI for the 10 years, I was actually the ACTI director for 9 months.
Oh my God. So you have director on your
Yes.
resume, I hope.
I became the director for 9 months, actually. It's interesting because people would come into the organization and say, oh, we have come to ACTI. And I mean, the fact that we've served the whole of Africa. So they expected to see, a couple of people, lining up as staff. And then I'll be like, it's just me. This is Africa. But they had to look for a director because directorship in ACTI, you must have a PhD.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
And I didn't have that. But the Lord has really helped ACTI. ACTI has grown. As we speak, we have about 15 staff. And so last year, it has been a prayer, praying, asking the Lord to direct me what I should do for my PhD. And not necessarily PhD, I was looking for answers for my under the administration aspect, trying to see how best to serve my institutions. Our institutions have really been struggling with transitions and successions. So I used to make fun when I don't get to hear an institutions when I write them emails. I would always tell David, they are in transition. There must be a principal or a president who has either resigned or backed down or something is happening. And I can tell you I was never wrong. And so I think I started having the thirst of wondering why, what is happening? Because especially being the center of education, we should know better in terms of preparing for succession. Yeah. And so out of this quest, this is what sent me to start thinking about doing my PhD. Bingo, I knew what I needed to research on. Successional planning in African seminaries that are accredited by ACTI. I can tell you that we do not have this program in Africa, which is a sad thing, but I am happy to say that if I'm the first person to take this, then I can bring it home. Actually, one of my assignments is to go and take the study, contextualize it, and start feeding it back into the system. And there's a school in Ethiopia that has invited me to start helping to prepare for this program. They have a PhD in leadership and education, and so they want to add an administrative aspect of it. And so I see and I feel I am in the right path. The Lord has called me to this, and I'm able to help our institutions better. And the best thing for me to serve them better is to equip myself and then come in and give it back.